So the Lord be with you. Our gracious and loving God, we give you thanks and praise for your presence among us this day. We thank you for this gathering. We ask that you would pour out your Holy Spirit in this space, that you would anoint the words that are said and the thoughts that are shared, and may everything we do and think and say here today would be to the praise of your glory. And we ask this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Reverend. Okay, we will start out actually with introductions. That's me. I'm Chuck Spence, actually. My name tag fell off. So I'm the president of Standing Committee. And what I'll do to start out is just explain who Standing Committee is for people that may not be familiar. And here comes Mary. And then we'll get introductions from everybody in the group. So when you look at the diocese, the overall diocese, the Episcopal Church in Hawaii, there are basically three main governance bodies that oversee all the churches and the operation of the diocese. Of course, at the very top is the bishop, who is also president of diocesan council. So the bishop is the one who presides over all of the business meetings and is president of convention and all of those responsibilities that come along with the order of the bishop. Under him, of course, is diocesan council, and they are a body of elected individuals who are voted for by the delegates that your churches, you all send to convention, and they vote for the candidates that ultimately become the members of diocesan council. Diocesan council is, they're the people who basically do the business management, if you will. So they're the ones that oversee the budget and the finances and, all kind of other related issues with regard to the legal aspects of running the diocese. And they're the ones that underneath them are all these other subcommittees, like Commission on Finance or Commission on Compensation, or I'm just trying to think what else. Insurance. All those things fit underneath the diocesan council. So just kind of like the, if you will, the vestry of the diocese. We are a standing committee. We're also elected individuals. So all of us stood forward for election, and we have staggered terms. Our terms are 4 years, and we have 4 clergy and 4 lay. And we are elected by the delegates as well, who come to convention. And every parish has a prescribed number of delegates according to the canons and constitutions. Standing committee is the body who acts as counsel of advice to the bishop. So when there are discussions about direction of how things are going within the diocese with regard to ordinations of deacons or clergy, the priests, that all comes through us. And we also are the ones who step in to the role of ecclesiastical head of the church should the bishop not be able to perform his duties. So we take over ecclesiastically. We also are responsible for what's happening now is the whole bishop transition. So as you all know, but Bishop Bob has announced that he is retiring, and he will be stepping out as of November 14th of 2026 when the ordination of the 6th bishop occurs. Under our purview of standing committee is the creation of 2 subcommittees, if you will. One is the search committee, and one is the transitions committee. And that's the process that typically is done throughout all the churches within the greater Episcopal Church country, nationwide, and across the other areas of the world. And what happens is search committee is chosen by us. We put forth a number of people. They are not the ones that actually are doing the input of the information. They're gathering it from all of you. So just to stress on that, because there were some concerns that there was representatives from one side of the island and not the other, and that there might not be enough input. So so I wanted to just address that and let you know that that's the key point, is that the search committee, their job is to gather all of your input. And so they will be reaching out and setting up meetings with all of the various congregations. Our session today is called a talk story, a listening session, talk story for standing committee. We're addressing all things diocesan wide in terms of policy and advice and things like that. We do not want to step, our kuleana is not to do the search itself. The search committee are the people that actually do that. So right now, they are in the process of creating what's called a diocesan profile. And a diocesan profile just basically is kind of a summary that's created whenever there's a search for a new bishop that's started. And the diocesan profile takes all of your input and summarizes it, puts it together and says, this is who we are, this is all the congregations within our diocese, these are our clergy, these are our members, these are the representatives of the various communities that we have in the diocese, and this is what we think that we need in our next bishop and what we're looking for. And that profile is scheduled to be completed by the search committee by the end of September. So they're going to be very busy between now and the end of September, putting all of that information into the report. Once they get that report, that profile ready, they're going to present it to us at standing committee, and we have about a month to work on it with them. So we'll be fine-tuning it, making sure that all the issues are addressed and all the questions are answered. We are going to then take that diocesan profile, and we'll be publishing it in the fall. And it gets published not just within our diocese, but it also goes to the greater Episcopal Church. It goes out through the Episcopal News Service, it goes out through a number of different mechanisms. And anyone who is a qualified clergy that meets the qualifications that are within this diocesan profile, they will send in their resumes and applications to stand for election and consideration for election for the 6th Bishop of Hawaii. And so that's how the search committee works. They will continue to do that through the end of September, as I mentioned. Then October, we fine-tune it, published in November, and then they start accepting applications from anybody who wants to stand for consideration to be the next bishop here. That then will go out, as I said, throughout the Episcopal Church. The applications will come in, they take them all in, and their search committee is going to be working through all those things, looking at them, considering who is a good person to move forward, and who they can rule out right from the start. On average, the way that it's been going within the Episcopal Church as a whole is that typically they get about 10 to 15 applicants that will come forth, and many of them will be from within, some will be from outside, and so all those things have to be considered. It may be somebody from within the diocese that suits, or it may be somebody from another diocese that would be a good fit here. So that all comes in. What will then occur is that the applicants, we're going to publish in November. They are going to have a deadline to submit before the end of the year, and that's search committee's decision as to when that cutoff time is. And then search committee will review them, decide who's going to move into the next phase of consideration, and then they do their online interviews in January of next year. So search committee will do that January. After they do their interviews online, then they will come up with a slate of finalists that they will decide, and they're the ones that actually present those candidates, the finalists that we are going to look at. And our job as standing committee is that we oversee that process. We see the oversight of the entire search and election and transitions. And so they will present the candidates to us that they've selected as the finalists. Then we go in and make sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted, that their background checks have been done, that, we're going to do social media background checks to make sure that there's nothing hanging out there that, would come up and be an issue later on. We will also look at them in ways that making sure that just everything has been documented and that we're complete in our files. Once we have those candidates as finalists, and we're saying that we're going to bring it down to 3 people because ultimately those 3 people will travel around our diocese and they will meet with all the various islands. So there will be meetings here on island of Hawaii. There'll be meetings in the other counties, Maui, Kauai. They're going to do a virtual one with the people from Guam and Saipan because Guam and Saipan is now part of our diocese. And so anyway, so after that happens, the transitions committee steps in. Once we vet everything is done, then transitions committee will come in and they are the ones who will take the candidates around to the various islands. And they're the ones that'll arrange the questions that'll be proposed and how it's presented, how the people are presented to everyone. Then that'll occur probably in April of 2026. In May, we're holding a special convention for the purpose of election, sole purpose of election of the 6th Bishop of Hawaii. So that's going to happen in May of 2026, May 16? May 16. So May 16 is when that special convention will be held. So your delegates will be going to vote at that convention for the bishop. After that occurs and we have a final bishop-elect, as we call them at that point, then the standing committee comes back in and we actually have to put it out to the national or the Episcopal Church, the whole overall Episcopal Church, because our bishop is not just the bishop for our diocese. Our bishop is also a member of the House of Bishops for the overall Episcopal Church. And that's a very important consideration that this is not just to direct us and how we operate here, but also how the Episcopal Church as a whole will set their path forward. And they will have very good input in the formation of the overall church. So with that, what part of our role?
And other standing committees get to vote too.
Yes, and as Mary's saying, the other standing committees get to vote on our bishop. So like part of our job duty as standing committee here is that we get applicants for the bishop-elect, and we get the information from various other dioceses, and they not only are bishop-elect within their own diocese, but they then have to be approved by the majority of standing committees and also by the majority of bishops within the Episcopal Church. And that's called a period of consent, and that takes 3 months. So that'll be after our bishop-elect is named in May of 2026. We got 3 months after that, and then we're once we get through that period and say that we do have overall consent, excuse me, then those candidates will be once they're approved, then they become our selection for the bishop until they come in as on-the-job training with our bishop until November when we have their consecration. So that's kind of the overall process. That's where Search and Transitions Committee work. With that, I'll turn it over. Did I miss anything, anybody?
Just super easy.
All right. Good. Well, that's kind of the story of the governance of the diocese, probably more than you expected today. But if we can answer any other questions, let us know. And we're opening it up to discussion. Now, we don't want to take any information with regard to, as we said, we don't want to step on the toes of the search committee. They're operating in a vacuum. They're on their own. They're very sequestered. They're not involved with us in terms of us giving any input or guidance. They're the ones that are doing the whole process of the search.
In a way, the line of communication between the search committee and the standing committee has essentially been cut, with the exception that we occasionally will have these conversations with the chair of the search committee, more for the chair to tell us what's going on. And then actually the search committee is reaching out now to all the congregations. And there's actually more opportunity for those conversations to be occurring right now as the profile's being developed than there is for us to actually have conversations with the search committee. We will have our say, and so that, that's down the road. And we should introduce ourselves.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a good point, actually. The thing to watch for is when the search committee comes out and they say that they're going to do their heart-to-heart meetings, and that's actually what they're calling their talk story, if you will. It's called Heart to Heart, and they will be coming to all the various congregations and getting your input on what people are looking for in the next bishop. So with that, as I said, I'm Chuck Spence. I'm the president of Standing Committee currently. We change, as every cohort from year to year as the convention elects new members. I also am the treasurer for Trinity Episcopal Church by the Sea over in Kihei on Maui, and also I am the treasurer for A Cup of Cold Water, our homeless, our unsheltered outreach mission. So yeah, so I'm on the board of that, and you'll hear from other people that are here who also are from Maui and participate in that. So with that, I'll pass the microphone on to Mary.
Start from this side.
So I'm Doug Adams. My parish is Church of the Holy Apostles in Hilo. I am not the way the standing committee works, we don't represent islands on the standing committee. There's, as I think you probably explained, 4 lay, 4 clergy. 2 of us are elected for every year for 4-year terms. By canon and tradition and geographic diversity, my cohort mate is Father Andrew. We always sit on the ends just to reflect the diversity of the archipelago. So he'll have an opportunity to introduce himself. Both of us have been 3 years now in our 3rd year here on the standing committee. Haven't been impeached yet, but it's only 1 more year, so who knows. But it's been just an honor and privilege actually to be able to serve in this particular position. And then I'm going to call them out just because they're my friends as well. My senior warden is here, Yvette, as well as our chaplain, Kathy. And I know you all know Kathy because Kathy actually came here before too, during her discernment, exactly.
And Doug, if you don't mind, we want to welcome the people on streaming. So
we want to welcome the people on streaming. See, I can listen and speak. Thanks, Rick, for setting that up. But yes, we really appreciate everybody that is watching. And just in case you don't know how this becomes interactive, this phone is how you can reach out, 808-767-1680, 808-767-1680. Text me, and then we'll make sure that your comments and or questions become part of the conversation today.
Aloha. I'm Mary Carpenter. I am a member of St. Andrew's Cathedral. I, along with the Reverend Jazzy Bostock, the 2 women on this group of wise men.
She means wise guys.
Were elected last year, so we're on our 1st year in, and we have learned quite a lot. I myself have learned quite a lot. I try to remember the advice of Archdeacon Steve Costa. I've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more, talk less, and it's a hard job, very difficult job. But you know, it's an honor, a privilege, and I am so humbled to have the this opportunity, and if they give it to me, they'll give it to anybody. So if you feel the call to be part of this, there's this is the period when nominations are open for next year to run. You can stand whether you are going to convention or not. Please. We need as many people from different parts of the diocese so that it's not all the same people all the time as we tend to see with diocesan leadership, which is difficult because we say that and then we don't stand for election, right? Okay, Mary, land the plane. I am very happy to be here. Thank you so much for coming. And
I have to say one thing. Jazzy Bostock was raised up for ministry from this church.
Oh, nice.
So we,
I didn't know that, yeah. Wow.
wow. Thank you. Keep doing that. Just yesterday, we were talking about how we need more people in leadership and in ordained ministry too, right? That are raised up among our own congregations.
perfect example.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done.
Good morning. I am Bill Bonnet. This is my 4th year and final year on the Standing Committee. My home church is St. John's in Kula, as close as you can come to being Waimea, and we cherish it as you do. In addition to my membership on the Standing Committee, I am on the Compensation Commission. We look at how clergy and diocesan center support staff are compensated. Is it still, is the approach which is being taken still a reasonable approach? We want to make sure that as the consumer price index increases, that we adjust the salaries to maintain the purchasing power of those who work so hard in this diocese. I'm also on the nominating committee, and thank you, Mary, for your pitch. We grow people from within, and that's not only clergy, but it's the people like us sitting here, and those who will represent us in the general convention. Those people are you, and we encourage you, as Mary said, to think about whether this might be part of your calling. Finally, I am a run leader for a cup of cold water and have learned so much in the years that I have been involved with that ministry, a face-to-face ministry, a chance to connect directly with people that has made such a difference in my spiritual growth.
Aloha mai no pakahia pau, aloha. My name is Haoli Kalana mea Haoli. I'm from Maui, and like my Veleni Mary said, raised up amongst all of you, the people of God. I am the vicar of South Maui, but I'm soon to be resigning for reasons of advanced age on August 31st, and on September 1st, well, the ordinary says, you're not resigning, you're not retiring, you're resigning for reasons of advanced age. Okay, thank you, Bob. So on September 1st, I'm sorry? Thank you. Thank you, Mother Marnie, thank you. Yeah, I'll call you Mother Marnie. I'll call you. And I mean it out of respect. I'm not bitch. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, mutual. We're presbyters of the diocese, so yes, we all have this level playing field. We're the presbyterate. Isn't that a word for your Scrabble game? Presbyterate. But anyway, I'm also a board member of Acapulco Water, and I'm also a member of the Diocesan Native Hawaiian Ministries Committee, which has just commissioned a new translation into Makolelo, Hawaii of the Book of Common Prayer, and it is on the diocesan website. So you can, Olelo, boom, put it right here. Take it here, and your service, your liturgy could be embedded with Olelo, Hawaii. You just have to know how to say it, okay? Because it's kind of offensive when Hawaiians hear somebody say something, go, what? What you said? So, but, kalamai ya'u, kalamai. That's my Hawaiian side coming up. But our friend Bill, our colleague Bill, talked about the kind of the consumer price indexing, you know, when we look at compensation and all that. I want to talk about the other CPI, which I hope is part of our Wala'au and Kuka today, the CPI of the congregation, the CPI of the parish. And that's the Congregational Priestly Index, in that leadership, including priests, rise up from all of you. I think is the best way of embedding leadership, but also nurturing who we are as community of faith. You know, in case you don't know, I grew up Catholic. Yvette, Catholic school all the way. Yes. Catholic school, yes. Thank you, Sister Maria Estelle. But anyway, I grew up Catholic, and I tell people, and I tell Bob this all the time, my Catholicity is a lot more vibrant and nurtured in the Episcopal Church than it ever was in the Roman Church. Because we're so inviting, we are so inclusive, which is kako, is very Hawaiian to be inclusive. And I think we're also very accepting. And I think this process, this leadership is an accepting process. And so the CPI of the parish is about that, accepting, raising up, answering the call, supporting. We are learning right here. This is the in situ of who we are as the Diocese of Hawaii. Wala'au nuia, ua pau kamanao yo. I'm done. That's what I said. Ua pau kamanao yo pau.
He's never done. Aloha, I'm Keleave He, but my ohana's from here, the Pa Ohana in North Kohala. So I was here the other week with my wife, and we went to that big community reunion. And, oh, we had so much fun. I think it was 4 days or so. Lots of fun, lots of fun. And food. I'm also on the Native Hawaiian Ministry with Hau'oli and Jazzy. So we're on that. Yes, we help to do the translations. This is my second year on the standing committee of the 4-year term. Nice to be here.
Wow. My name is Andrew McMullen. It's been my privilege to be a parish priest now for 20 years. The last 9 of which, it is my joy to be the rector of St. Michael and All Angels on the island of Kauai. And as Doug mentioned, I am part of his class on standing committee. We're in our 3rd year. It is an absolute privilege to be with these brothers and sisters. It is a privilege to serve you in this holy land that we call the Diocese of Hawaii. And now I think we ought to get to the business of listening.
Wonderful segue. Thank you very much, Father Andrew. So yes, it's time to hear from you. We want to hear from you about questions that you have, anything about the way that things work in the diocese, about overall diocesan questions. How are things going on the ground? What do you need help with? What can we do? This is we actually just started this road show, if you will, last year when we did our first talk story on Maui, when we met with it was our people of Holy Innocents that gathered together, and it was such a moving experience, and so powerful, and we learned so much and helped them because of the talk story. So this is our opportunity to get input. So what we're going to ask is if you have questions or comments, or you want to say something, if you don't mind, if you're not too shy, please come up to the mic and speak so that everybody who's live streaming can have that. And again, for the live streaming people, if you want to send questions in, the number is
808-767-1680.
Operators are standing by.
And thank you for hosting us. You guys are all great. This is like one of the best turnouts that we've had in all of our talk stories. So we really appreciate you all being here and being online. So with that, I open it up. Anybody want to come up and ask a question? If you don't want to come up, I'll come to you with a mic. So you tell me.
Can you tell us again about the search committee? Because I just lost it in all the committees. How many people there are? How many people and where they're from? The search committee.
Repeat your
Okay.
question.
Sorry, if you could repeat the search committee, how many people are on it? And are they lay and also clergy?
So that's a very good question. Thank you, Mary. The search committee was formed by us, and the way that we came about it is typically in the search committee, there's no more than like 10 to 15 in many of the dioceses as they do their search, and we have a consultant that's assigned to us from the presiding bishop's office, and so the consultant helps us in terms of making sure that we're doing things properly and that we're abiding by the canons and constitution. So as we formed, we thought we want at least one lay and one clergy from each island to get the information, to gather the information, and to gather the input as to who the people are. They're not the ones that are going to be doing the voting. The delegates that you send to convention are the ones that are going to be doing the selection. So this is just a process of them gathering the information. So we decided that we would have one of each, lay and clergy from each county within Hawaii, and we would also have one from each of Guam, Saipan. So if you have 8 people, and then we have a president who is Cheryl Seaman, and Cheryl is really spectacular. She's doing a great job running the search committee and keeping things organized and keeping things moving. And they're really busy. They're actually doing a lot of hard work. So we're really grateful for the people that were selected. We have very strong confidence in the way that it came out. So if you have 4 counties, that's 8 people, and then 2 from Guam, Saipan, so that's 10 people, and then we have the president, who's Cheryl Seaman, and then we also have a chaplain. And the chaplain actually is very, just as important, because they not only give input in terms of the process, but they also help with regard to the chaplaincy. I'm sorry? Oh, the chaplain, I'm sorry, is John Lunn. John actually was the vicar at Grace Molokai and moved to Oahu, and he stepped away because of advanced age from his role. Sorry, because you never you never retire from being a priest or a bishop. So anyway, so he happened to be on Oahu, and so John Lunn is actually Reverend John Lunn is doing a spectacular job. The prayers that you see from the search committee that are going out diocesan wide were written by John and members of the search committee. So really important role. And he's being chaplain not just to the committee itself, but also to the candidates that come in and chaplaincy to the bishop-elect that ultimately will be there, and also chaplain to the ones that aren't accepted, because they need chaplaincy just as much. So so it's a big job. It's it's really important. So in total we have 12 people that are on the search committee. Next question.
Actually, this mic is for them.
Yeah, this mic is for you. They're all shy.
They're shy. They're shy.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Okay. Mahalo for being here. Aloha kako. Appreciate you guys making the effort. We trading? Okay, good. I have two questions. Thank you. I have two questions that are kind of process related. Okay, two questions. First of all, my name's Hans Lorange, Waimea born and bred, baptized in this church 70 years ago. So I appreciate you guys being here. You said that the full council of bishops, or the House of Bishops, does the House of Bishops has to vote on our selection?
All the bishops. Do you want to answer that? All the bishops.
Yeah, our bishop becomes a member of the House of Bishops of all of the Episcopal Church, and they consent as well as the standing committees of each diocese. So the bishops in their own house say, okay, it's usually an okay thing, and they consent.
That's my question, actually. Yeah,
But they consent as individual bishops. They don't collectively consent as the House of Bishops.
Okay, thank you.
But
That's
collectively, they are the House of Bishops.
Right.
But thank you, Bill.
Because it would be, my way of thinking, it'd be a tragedy if the person that we call is not approved by an external body who doesn't know much about us. That
has happened.
I understand
that
why
has
that happens.
happened, and it's a cause for not only reflection, but it's also a cause for concern, because obviously somewhere along the way there was not enough vetting and or clear thought and speaking to truth in the process somehow.
You heard Chuck speak about the due diligence which is done not only by the search committee, but then subsequently by the standing committee, because we are very aware of just what you mentioned. This must go well, and it's our responsibility ultimately to see that the things that need to be done have been done to avoid a situation just like that.
Thank you very much.
So that was your first question, yeah?
Yeah, second question. Do Bishop Bob and Bee need to leave Hawaii once there's a new bishop?
No.
Like, we don't want the old guy overlooking the shoulder of the new person.
Exactly. Same way that, like, and you think about it within a parish, that when a priest resigns or steps away, that the general guidance is that they're not supposed to come back for at least a year, so that it doesn't interfere with the new leadership of the next clergy. B and Bob do not have to leave, so that's not part of the requirement, and in fact they do intend to stay here. So the plan is that they will be here. They will become congregation members at one of their churches that they prefer, and will continue to participate in various aspects of it. And in fact, the bishop is creating a legacy fund that he's sent out regarding trying to build causes for helping with, like, his legacy is about the rectories and residencies for finding rectories and residencies for clergy within the diocese. So he'll be busy with projects like that within our diocese.
Mahalo, very glad to hear that. And speaking individually, not as a member of this parish or the member of this vestry, we'd love to have him here.
Yeah, in fact, Bishop Bob has always told us, when Bishop Chang was here, that he actually had lunch with Bishop Chang once a week, just so they could be in touch. You know, so it's a good camaraderie that they had, but yeah.
Okay, next question. Any from online? No.
Sorry.
Hi, my name is Cindy Saley, and I'm from St. Jude's. I have a lot of questions. I have been where you are. I was on the standing committee for 3 terms. And the same with the last 3 bishop searches. I was glad to hear that you all are the ones who appointed the search committee. You know, each search committee has been different, made up in different ways. I have one real concern, and Hans kind of touched on it, but my concern is I don't think that the present bishop should be a part of doing any of the training of whoever gets elected. Theoretically, whoever's going to be on that election, on the ballot for election, is going to be a leader to begin with. All of them are going to be leaders. And they need to establish their own way of doing whatever it is they want. I think it's a huge mistake. I think at the time of the election that actually Bob should leave and go on vacation, and you all should take over for that interim period. You're going to have the transition committee who is going to be actively working with whoever the new bishop is. But I think it's a really big mistake. I'm sure that Dick and Bob did have, Bob worked for Dick, under Dick for a number of years. So they had a relationship going on, which is fine. But you need to give the new bishop his own space. I think it'd be a big mistake to have that happen.
Okay.
And also, I was really interested in.
Can I answer? Just to address that, Bishop Bob, I will say, is being very diligent about making sure that he's staying out of the entire process of the search and transitions. And I love your sage advice. I think that's it's very good. I will let you know that his plan during that phase is he's going to be going around a lot to say goodbye to people, and so he has a very busy travel calendar. So I think that while there is overlap, and we said it's on the job training, it's basically going to be them just kind of filling that the new bishop elect being in there to start to seat themselves and take control while Bishop Bob is able to say his farewell. And I think that's more the purpose of it than anything else. And also to answer any questions that go on. I don't think that, Bishop Bob, from my discussions with him as, one-on-one from President of Standing Committee to Bishop Bob is that it's not like he's going to impart his style on anyone. I think that his thought is just to be there to kind of, how can I say, give a little bit of an overlap to make sure that there's questions answered. But thank you.
Okay, I still think it's a mistake. I think so 215. If you have a baby bishop, 215 kind of assigns a well-established bishop to kind of help them along. Not from that diocese, but, from the pool of bishops, from the House of Bishops somewhere. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that Bob is keeping his hands off, because he very definitely has to. But, you're calling the shots. That's where you are. I was really interested in listening to Mary talk about having people run. One of the things I've seen is that having a good selection of people on your slates is a sign of the health of the diocese. So the healthier the diocese, the more people you have anxious to run and take office, And so it's one of those indications of how well your diocese is doing. And I want to thank you for having these talk stories. You know, I mean, there are a number of you who are from neighbor islands, none of you quite as far away as we are, but, you know, we're kind of like stepchildren. There's a little bit of that, if you're not next to the flagpole, you know, you're kind of on that stepchildren. And sometimes it's wonderful because you're out of sight of the bishop, but but other times, you know, you feel neglected. So thank you for having your meetings. You're a great idea. You know, nobody ever thought about that when I was on the standing committee. So it was really wonderful. You want to talk? Yeah. Here we go.
My name's Karen Pucci. I'm also from the Wild West of St. Jude's.
The Wild West.
It is, trust me. It's
I'd like to
wonderful,
go there.
but it's, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. But one of the things that keeps coming up over and over again is how this bishop and our visiting priests that come, they said, oh, this is a great idea. This is the way all church should be. No steady priest. You know, the laity runs it because they're there all the time. They know what's going on. And I'm not seeing it happen. Is this going to be something that we get a lot of talk about wanting it to have it, but I never see it happen. I mean, these churches hang on to their priests and they have no money for anything else, so they can't do any outreach really, unless they've got some donors within the church, but they're just hanging on by their fingernails in terms of supporting their priests. So I wondered if there was going to be a focus on moving it in that direction. I think our program's wonderful. The community responds very well, sometimes not always well, but they really support us, and when we have problems, they're often the first people on the scene. So I just wanted to know if that is in the cards.
It's going to be happening also at Grace Church on Molokai. It's patterned after what you in the Wild West of St. Jude's are doing, visiting presbyters. I love the word presbyters, can't you tell? I love presbyter. Visiting presbyters who listen to the people running the place and they blend in. Yeah, so it could be, but more so to answer your question, Anake, is that I believe that through the search committee there is going to be a focus group or a discussion group started with people like you who have been on previous searches, who have worked for the diocese or other dioceses, who understand processes like this. And so you're going to be invited to this focus group that the search committee itself will start wala'au and kuka with you. Because I want to sit here at your feet and listen to you all day. It's like, oh, Anake, yeah. No, I do. I mean, she's like my auntie. Let auntie talk, and the mo'opuna just sit there, be a hamau, silent, and we let her talk. Because there's wisdom, yeah. So you're going to have your chance to do that with the search committee.
I don't know what you're telling, I know you don't interact with the standing committee, so I don't understand what they're starting out with. The search committee. Sorry, got you guys confused. You're all, it's an S committee. So that was my concern.
I'm sorry, what search committee is starting with?
What they're looking at, oh, sorry. We don't know each other that well. Sorry. I don't know where their starting point is. I don't know if they're saying, oh, we want to have, conventional Episcopalian bishop, we want to change, we want to go follow what Sean Moore is starting. I don't know where they are, what they're going to be looking for, what they want.
Fascinating question. This is exactly what the search committee is in the process of doing right now with the diocesan profile. Picture yourself as a priest who may be considering whether this 6th Bishop of Hawaii could be a calling for me, for you. What is it that you need to know about who we are and what we want to be? That's what in order for you to make an informed determination through discernment that this is your calling indeed. That's being prepared right now, and the input that you provide to the search committee for that diocesan profile, sometimes it's been described as our help wanted ad. But it's so much more than that. It's what we think you need to know to make your determination to apply.
And I dare say today is an integral part of all of it. I mean, this is it. Well, not it, but a part of it.
Right.
Part of it. Even in the Wild West. Yeah.
So from the wise man to the wise guy. You're wise man, I'm wise guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, Lieutenant Colonel.
Thank you. So I'd like to address your question directly. So Church of Holy Apostles, our search process is just starting, right? Our pastor has moved on to another call in another diocese. And as a part of our conversation with Canon Sandy, who has responsibility, right, for all of this, your concept of looking at the types of relationships between rector, priest in charge, pastor in our parlance, and the parish mission situation, that really hasn't, I think it's fair to say, we just, if we had that conversation, we glossed over it. We had what we liked, we were trying to do that. It wasn't a situation where we were saying, are there other options out there kind of situation. So I just, that concept of that is a part of the conversation that, our canon at the diocesan level is having. Now, he may be having that because other parishes may be in different situations financially or otherwise, but in our situation, we're moving on to, at the moment, a conventional, relationship. So you're aware of that. Now, the other part of this is that I mentioned Yvette, our senior warden is here. Yvette's also on the search committee. So some of what you're asking about for the bishop. Yeah, no, not for the rector. No, I know. So that opportunity what you're talking about, she's hearing as well right now. But I know that there will be opportunities for the congregations here on this island to have direct heart-to-hearts with the bishop search committee.
And yet Yvette is on the search committee. There she is. She's one of the search. I just said that. I know, but I'm just trying to emphasize. Yeah, and she's not the parish search committee. She's on the diocesan search.
What's her name? No, the lady that asked the question. I'm sorry, what's your name? Yes. Karen. Thank you. God love you for the courage that you all have in the Wild West of St. Jude. I, in my former parish, was on the search committee for almost 2.5 years. After a failed search and having to do all over again, I kept saying, we are in a parish of strong lay leaders. We are more than capable of leading our congregation and leading the church, and that's not where the parish was. So what works for one church doesn't always apply to other places.
Feels like nothing's happened. So we see churches closing down instead of maybe you can work another way.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I have so much admiration for those that have made that work. Thank you.
I want
We
to
have a question online?
No.
Oh, we don't, sorry.
I want to build on something that was triggered by comments here. You've got a real dilemma. You, Standing Committee, Search Committee, have a real dilemma in that we absolutely want the 3 best people that we can bring forward. If they're all older, middle-aged, older white guys, that's a problem. That does not reflect well on, that's why it's a dilemma. If the top 3 all look exactly the same, those are the 3 that come up to the top. I would just argue there are other characteristics, be it gender, be it culture, be it leadership style, exactly. If there are 3 older white guys, I'm immediately reacting negatively to this slate.
May I tell you about the...
Oh, that's okay.
I just got a request that people that are listening in are saying that unless the person's on the mic, they can't hear them. So whatever comment you make, just raise your hand and I will run over there and give you this, but just make sure that you have the mic.
That includes us too?
Yes.
Absolutely. You're the wise person here. You have years of experience. It's not advanced age, darling. It's advanced wisdom that you have.
And I'm sorry, I forget your name. Hans, thank you, Hans.
He's our senior warden here at St. James.
Thank you, Hans. I just want to put a plug in. Search committee is of course going to be around, and those comments are exactly what they want to hear. That's what they're doing, in trying to gather everything that they can, and that could be written into the diocesan profile. It doesn't stop it. The other thing I want to say is that if you cannot attend one of the sessions that's at your own church, you can attend one that's nearby or at another island. They're going to be conducted virtually as well. So, they're putting all that information out there. Stay tuned to the website. The diocesan website is out there. And in addition to that, there's a form that you can suggest comments for either standing committee or search committee or transitions committee, and you can give input that way as well. So there's multiple ways to get that information in to have them consider that.
I appreciate that, and I understand that it's part of the search committee responsibility, but ultimately it goes from search committee to you folks. So I want to make sure that you're hearing this as well.
Yes. Just a quick comment, and I want to be very careful. I think the dilemma actually goes a little deeper. To be perfectly clear, from my presence as a priest in the parish, I couldn't agree more with you. As a priest in the diocese, we're such a diverse group, we're such a unique place, all the things that we all know in this room. But I want us to be cautious and leave room for God. Leave room to be guided by the Holy Spirit and by God, because at the end of the day, we're not making the call.
That's right.
We're affirming God's call to God's chosen. And I often think of David's selection as a leader. Everybody, all the sons come forward, and everybody, well, that's got to be him, and that's got to be him, and it ends up being the ruddy-haired shepherd out in the field that they had to bring in. So I guess my main comment in response to your comment, which again I agree with, is we need to be patient as a diocese. We need to walk unafraid. Walk unafraid. To trust our faith.
Yeah.
Be hopeful. Be hopeful and excited and optimistic. Because I think in a lot of times when we start to think about those characteristics, there's that baseline of fear that can come up, boil up. And so I actually think that, I agree with your dilemma, but I actually think there's a deeper dilemma. We need to maintain ourselves as people of faith. Walk unafraid.
I also would like to add that the delegates from each church will be voting on the bishop at the special election in May of 2026. So if you want to be part of the process, run to be a delegate from your church.
Yeah. We were all elected by the convention to be here. So, like Bill, I'm on my last month of my term. 4 years ago, I was elected. So if they can elect me, oh my gosh, they can elect you, let me tell you. Yeah, it's like, who's this guy?
Okay, next question or comment.
I have a question. Can we redirect this, a little bit? You're here to listen to us.
Yes.
So, and we've been listening. Question is, do you have any questions for us
Oh, that's good.
about our ministries? We know the famous one is this one right here, right there, St. Jude's. But do you have any questions for any of these churches represented here?
I have.
Go for it. Mike.
Oh yeah, Kalamai. I have a question. And it starts with me. Do any of you, like me, feel like the church goes way beyond this place?
Oh, yes.
Outreach, you mean?
Just the church is wide. Because why I question that is because sometimes I think Episcopalians become congregationalist in that all we see is our parish. And, oh, we have a bishop? Oh, diocese? What is that? Oh, you mean there is a convention to which I can be elected to? Yeah, I mean, it's like going way beyond St. James. And that's the beauty of who we are, I think, is that we are called way beyond to listen to God. And I'm listening to God right now through you. It's like, wow.
Anybody else?
I have a question. I have experience in a parish that was very congregationalist, if you will, insular, and very little that happened on the diocesan level filtered into the parish, so that the only the people that have always been involved in the diocesan level were the only people that show up to things that happen. And so the rest of the congregation miss out on opportunities that are for training, for formation. So if the electronic means of communication don't filter down to people in churches that may not have technological skills or electronic capabilities, if you all have such vibrant work in communities, how do we get the information from the diocesan level down to the people on the ground? Or how can you help me figure out how to do that in a church that we're trying to reach out to with challenges as far as emailing and technology?
Any thoughts from anybody?
Okay, listen up.
The most successful time that I can remember having that happen is when Ed Browning was our diocesan. And we didn't feel so much like stepchildren because whatever program he had, and he brought in Vernadosia, he brought in a lot of different people with different talents, and he had them go to every island. So, you know, I mean, we could have been on social media or whatever we're doing, but it's not the same as actually being here. So social media is good, you know. I mean, what would we have done without Zoom during COVID? But it doesn't really replace the face-to-face or the being there. So anyway, it's a matter of sharing throughout the diocese. If everything's being done in Honolulu, you know, you're going to lose us. First of all, it costs us so much money to get there. He also used to send people down to, he'd pay, the diocese would pay to have people from every congregation, you know, go to Honolulu for things that couldn't make the tour around. But it's a matter of sharing. And that's how you're also, you know, one of the things I hope that the standing committee, the search committee, and you know, it's the more ears that hear, you know, the better it is we're going to need a bishop who is really into getting a strong lay leadership going. You know, you need it, and the further we get along, the more it's needed. We need strong lay leadership. I think we tend, as Episcopalians, when we have a priest in charge, we tend to sit back and let them do it. You know, we put them on the pedestal, and we sit back and say, oh, no, the priest is doing that. But we need to build up the laity.
Anybody else?
I have a comment.
This is Terry Greenwell, Vestry.
Here at St. James. You were asking about, Terry, you were asking about being a part of the community. I would like to invite you all back on a Thursday for our community meal.
I've seen it on
every
Facebook.
week.
I've seen it on Facebook.
Every week we serve about 700.
Yeah, I'm licking my phone.
We are in the process now of fundraising to build a new building, because we usually have it in our pavilion, which we've outgrown, and the kitchen is that 700 meals are prepared in that kitchen. So we are in the process, yes. So we are in the process of fundraising. Our goal is 5.5 million, and we are up to 4.9. So we're steaming ahead, but it's slowing down a little bit. But I would invite you back. I mean, we have after-school program on Wednesdays. The kids come or help with homework. They get to play. Our sister church in Pauilo, St. Columba's, does the visiting clergy. We have clergy there who is there 10 months of the year, and then she goes to the mainland to visit family, and we have traveling priests that take over. And it's been working how many years? About 4, yeah, at least. And so we do have, I mean, we have Father David and Reverend Marnie here, but Reverend Linda takes care of St. Columba's, and they're all a part of our congregation. We have our beach mass every Saturday, and we get lots of visitors. The thrift shop is the biggest outreach. So I think St. James has made their mark in this community, in the wider community. Many of our families they used to go to the community meal, and they decided to come on a Sunday and try it out. So we're getting more children and more families involved, and we're still growing. We're still growing. But yes, we are reaching out. I remember one time Bishop Chang came and wanted our church more visible in the community, and the rector at the time, we had a bunch of trees along the fence line, had them cut down so we'd be more visible. But anyway, we look beyond that, and we've come a long way, and I'm proud to be a member of the vestry and have this as my church family.
She's also head of the Altar Guild and a bunch of other things. On that note, just what she said, she said, I've got a thought for you. St. James, this is the biggest island, as you know, and we have a congregation at the beach. We have 2 congregations here, 7:30 and 9:30. They're pretty much their own congregation. And then we have Hilo, St. Columba's. So we're on both sides of the island and in the middle. I encourage you, this is Saturday, and at 5 o'clock on Saturday evening, we have our beach mass.
I see it on Facebook too.
Yeah, well, that's, yeah, we've got chairs for you. What?
Yeah, not this time. I won't come back. No, I come back.
But I invite you as a standing committee, maybe come once in a while and see what's going on and let us tell you what's going on. One day, not too long ago, we had 92 people down there.
Wow.
And that was an exceptional course. But we have 2 chalices every Sunday. That's amazing. And, but people are hungry. Sometimes they're visitors, a lot of the time. And of course, we have our snowbirds here, and they come and they go. We also have our online community, which is really a big deal. If you get our newsletter, that's another thing that we send out. Our newsletter, you'll see that Father David wrote a wonderful piece in the introduction about our online congregation. I have no tips for somebody else. So your question was so good. I don't have any tips for that. But the getting up to speed, as many churches could do, or might do, or hopefully can do somehow. Maybe the diocese can help some of the churches get up to snuff with.
I think this is information for the search committee. I mean, what we're talking about is searchable committee. Searchable? Well, it's searchable to the search committee. It's information that the search committee is gathering. I mean, wow, it's exciting in the Wild West.
It's very exciting. Down at the beach, it's very, if you've ever watched it, it's online. It's, what do we call it? Live streamed.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Somebody wants to talk over here. I better stop. You can tell where she's from.
Yes, we're the poor cousins from Pauwilo. I always say that and everybody gets embarrassed. But we have an outreach too, and I think it's very challenging to get people to get the message that we're there. And we still have people that come in for our community meal or thrift sale or something like that that go, oh, we didn't know there was a real church here and you guys were having services. And it always shocks me because they've all got phones. They're all electronically connected, but much better than I am, actually. And yet you just have to do what St. James is doing, what we're doing. We're just imitating them because they're successful. And we do what we can do. And I think just the more you get out there, and we have name tags for people that are actually going to the services. And we have a little container for them. And people that don't even come to church ask for a name tag. And they can maybe come for Easter or something and want their name tag up there. So you look at 30 people in the congregation, some service, and then look at the name tags, and you've got 100 of them. But they attach themselves to us. They may not be Episcopalians. They may not be it, but they are connected to us. And what we always go on is they will know us by our love. And so I think that's what they always get that impression, because we're a little funky little church. Well, less funky now that we have our beautiful kitchen. But it's certified kitchen. And now we're really having fun too, because we're liberated from our tiny, we had a closet with a sink. That's what we had. And we were cooking in it. I don't know how, not legally, I'm sure. Yeah, but it was dangerous.
Yeah.
And you're an old plantation church.
Yeah, yeah.
They can't hear you.
I have another question for you.
Yeah.
I have another, and you, Sister Auntie, sorry, Kalamai. Right next door, you have a Roman Catholic parish.
Yes.
That's an opportunity. That's an opportunity because last week, for the first time in 500 years, there was a Catholic Mass celebrated within Canterbury Cathedral for the feast of the translation of St. Thomas Becket. And Mass was held for the first time in 500 years in Canterbury Cathedral. You have Mass right there. What an opportunity. Is that an opportunity? That's my question. Is that an opportunity?
We, every Good Friday, we combine with the Ascension. We all go walk together. We start over there. We have the 14 Stations of the Cross, and we start there, and all their, Frankie, the sweet angel over there, he puts up all the crosses all over both campuses, and this is and we do this. It's fabulous.
I've seen that on Facebook too.
Yeah.
You follow us.
We also, when their pantry is low, we provide extra food to their pantry. So there's a lot of exchange.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Are you going to be like Canterbury Cathedral and have them say Mass here?
Well, they'll let us say Mass there. We do.
Not saying no.
Okay.
But I think one of the things that I'd like you guys to hear, or the message, partly, what you're hearing from Pat, from Terry, at the community meal, we have folks that come in the first time and they go, I don't do church. I don't go to church. I say, here's a plate. You're here for a meal. And we're feeding body and soul. Yes. And those folks then start to come back very regularly. They don't think they're going to church. They're getting churched. The only thing about the meal that it looks like it's part of the church is we offer a pole up front. Everybody gather around, hold hands, we offer prayer. And then there's food, there's conversation, there's music, and those folks start coming back over and over. And I say again, they will say, I don't go to church, and I say, you just don't know. But you've become part of a community, and you've become part of this message of aloha, of sharing, of community, and that's what church is supposed to be about.
He's the one that passes out the plate, so he talks.
Let me talk about three different things. I have a friend that I met through our ukulele ministry. When I moved here 5 years ago, I wanted to do music. And I was in a handbell choir, and they didn't have one here, so I learned how to play ukulele. I brought along a friend of mine who's never been to church before, because she wanted to practice with us, not to church, but to practice. She practices with us. She got interested and wanted to go to the beach mass. And then we had a blessing, wedding, whatever of your wedding vows, renewal, something, reaffirmation of your wedding vows. And she came to that because her husband had passed away several years ago, and they always wanted to do it. She took communion and talked to David afterwards, or Marty's one of you, yeah. And that was all from, I play an ukulele and I don't have a place to play. So that's one thing. We also share our church with the Marshallese congregation on Sunday afternoons.
Marshallese.
Yeah.
I think it's a Marshallese full gospel. Is that right? They use this space for worship.
The music is absolutely amazing. It's wonderful. And so, there's this back and forth that it doesn't to me feel like just a Episcopal church with walls around it. And I was raised Catholic, and I was in one of those. So it's so different. And I was going to say one other thing, and I forgot. I'll get back later.
Thank you so much. We only have a few minutes left. One of the things that I just want to say that I've heard comments is, and this is what I always say, is social media has made us less social. And that's exactly the problem that we're dealing with. Everything that I'm hearing here, the successes, from meeting in person to everything else, that's really what's key. It's the feeling that
we are getting. Read David's article in our newsletter. It's what is it? stjameshawaii.org, and that's a website, and you'll see and you get the newsletter. He's written a wonderful article about the online ministry that we have, and you can't imagine how many people And it does, it's what is it, this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
The IT stuff has made that possible. And there are people, we have a full congregation of people that come and they feel love and they feel, and they contribute. But that's a whole nother thing. And so in many ways, we are communicating more and get the word out, and then people come.
Thank you.
Yoshi remembers now.
Sorry. I remembered my third thing because this one almost put me to tears. We were working the community meal on Thursday morning, getting ready. We have all the volunteers in here. A woman showed up and said, I heard I could volunteer. It was a rainy day, worse than this. And her name is Nancy. And she came in, and I said, you know, here's how you set up, wash your hands and stuff. She goes, well, just a minute, I gotta go get my purse, and can I bring my stuff in? I'm like, oh yeah, where's your purse? Out on the table there. I was just laying on the bench of the table, and she's homeless, houseless. And we said, oh yeah, bring it in, put it in the pews. She worked, she talked, she made friends. I mean, she was just being alone, and all of a sudden we said, please come back. She came back last week. She knows people, and she'll be a regular Nancy, helping make the food that then she needs to eat that night.
So you asked earlier about us having a question for you. I have one in particular that we're dealing with at Trinity. The pride here amongst all of you is just, it's so strong and it's so deserved. You guys are doing amazing things here. And
it's all about love is what it is.
Yeah, it's spectacular. One of the things that I notice when I meet with people and we talk about this particular parish is that it's always like a continued breath. It's you know, St. James, St. Columba.
Yes.
There's no hesitation. It just goes all the way through. With Holy Innocents, unfortunately, these people lost their church. They lost their homes. They lost family members. I mean, they lost their work. And they formed a smaller congregation that are gathering, about a dozen of them, that are meeting in another church down the street in Napili. We took them in as a preaching station under the auspice of Trinity, and promised them that we are going to work to reestablish them and have them be reestablished as a mission church of their own.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, they're part of Trinity. How did you make this work with the two of you to make them feel so, the St. Columba's and St. James? How did you be so successful at that?
The bishop told Father David that we should all go visit. So a group of us go once a month, and they know we're coming, and if you don't come, where were you? Yeah.
I mean, you've got, example right here. Another thing it's one vestry for all the parishes. So we've got folks from Beachmass, folks from St. James, folks from St. Columba, that are all part of the same vestry, that are hearing the same message, that are going back to their congregations. It'd be a tremendous mistake if we tried to do them separately, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we're doing a combined vestry meeting. We do have a question online, and then we're going to have to wrap up.
Yeah. So, comment from online. One of my favorite quotes that Father David, I'm assuming Father David Stepp, uses all the time: "Preach the gospel every day. Only use words when absolutely necessary." St. Francis, yeah, very nice. May I make one? Sure. Yeah, and then I'll give it back to you. We've got St. Jude's, we've got St. James, St. Columba, we have Holy Apostles. I don't know if we have anyone from St. Augustine's or Christ Church here. One of the things that I've been trying to pay attention to since I was senior warden, in the middle of the last decade at Holy Apostles, is I noticed that the clergy on the island get together, right? So I'm not talking about the diocese specifically. I'm talking about this island, right? And we are so big, and we have, not that many parishes for, you mentioned yours, and then I can talk about La Pahoehoe, all the
Sure.
way to
Yeah,
Volcano and all that, right? So our ability as lay people to gather, at least the leadership. I'm speaking out of school. My senior warden's here. She's like, what the hell are you doing? And so, but part of this is, how do we make sure that we're also having these conversations? I am so proud of St. Jude. You never know that because I never tell you, but the whole idea of what you do and have kept it going and make sure, and the work that you do for your community, right? The showers and the food and all that, it's amazing. St. James, of course, and the things that you are doing. But I think if I asked regular folks in our congregation, they wouldn't necessarily know, right? And if you talk to your congregation, you're not necessarily going to know all the stuff that St. Jude is doing, maybe some of the stuff that we're doing. I just think that there are these opportunities for us to share at the lay ministry level that maybe we should try and take advantage of.
I think one of the problems, Doug, is that we're far apart, but we're also so busy.
Yeah.
It's trying to find that space in our busy days to.
Yeah. And Karen has a comment that she'd like to make.
Our current priest is Lester McKenzie, who's now attached to Sean Moore's work. And one of the things he's doing is he wants us mission churches to start talking to each other. And I said, he's raised it at our monthly meeting. He's only here until the end of the month. And I brought it up in church to everybody. I says, how can we do it? We need a hook. Because people aren't going to get in their cars and drive to St. Jude's. We're not going to want to drive over to here unless we know there's going to be something here that is of interest to us. So if you guys can stick around and talk to me, I'd appreciate it, and see what we can come up with common ground and see what something that would be interest your community, your clergy, not your clergy, but your laity that might want to do something that. I mean, I didn't know St. Columba was doing things because our friends, the Coyles, reopened that church. They were the first ones in there, and they weren't doing anything. And she was appalled because they'd just come from St. Jude's. And she kept saying, they're not doing anything. I said, well, they just reopened, And she said, well, there's a school there. They can have reading programs and, anyway. So I think that would be great. And if this is exactly what he has been tasked to do. And he said he's going to come back with me for some ideas. But if I can talk with you, I can give him some ideas. So thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Rick, who has done a phenomenal job of keeping this going. Thank you, Rick. Want to say thank you to the people that are online and streaming with us. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you to the St. James, St. Columba people for hosting us here. Thank you all for coming out today. This has just been one of the spectacular sessions for us. So we really appreciate that. And we will actually have a closing prayer, a very special closing prayer that Father Kaliave and Father Howley are going to lead.
Please stand.
Honani kamakuamau ke ki me kauhane no ke aku amau ho mai ka ipu ko ke Wow.